Welcome to Gamechanger. I'm going to jump right in and talk to you right out of the gate on who is this free training for? This is for specifically if you are a male chiropractor and you're doing more than $250,000 a year in revenue, you're going to need this training. And here's why. Because what I find is when you've built a business at that level and well up above it, as many of you have, you're going to experience these things. And are you tired of feeling stressed? Are you fearful? Sometimes when you build something, you're fearful of losing it. Are you lost in knowing what are the next steps? What do I do from here? What I'm doing or not doing is working. Maybe it's not working and you're a little bit lost. Or maybe you're just surely overwhelmed with practicing, taking care of people, managing a team, and continuing to feel like the business owns you rather than you own the business. Because that'll lead to burnout. And I've seen that so many times in my career. And the bigger question about all of this is, are you just tired of knowing that your life and your business is not where it could be? Because if that's the case, this training is for you for sure. If that's not the case, then this is definitely not for you. And I want to save you time because I'm always about not consuming things unless we're able to apply them. Application is always the key. This is a world that we can consume, and then do nothing. Who I am, Michael Buffington, founder and CEO of Gamechanger, and just like you, and it's kind of comical to me to say founder and CEO because of course I founded this, and of course I'm the CEO, just like many, probably most of you that are going to see this training are in your own individual practices. Yes, you wear all the hats that are involved. That's of course a picture of me, my wife Paige, and my three boys in that lower picture. That picture is a little outdated. They're all, I think, close to taller than me at this stage. But what we experience is the regression of the chiropractic businessman. And I've seen this, after nearly 30 years in practice, I noticed that male chiropractors in particular were effectively, tied to the table and not often in a position that they could leave any kind of legacy beyond the amazing service. Took great care of people, made massive impacts for those people and even their communities. Yet when it came down to it, they're having to die over the table just to ensure that they don't go broke or that they can maintain their lifestyle or they can continue to provide for their families instead of serving out of a place of abundance, clarity, and certainty. So that's essentially where I come from living that. And years ago, I spent a lot of time, and that was really kind of an awakening for me to become more of a weaponized chiropractic businessman. And quite frankly, I was a pretty good chiropractic businessman before. Yet when I was already doing seven figures and I was taking care of tons of people, I still felt like there was something missing. It's what I mentioned before. I still felt like maybe I was a little lost. Maybe what if I could do more? What if I could impact more? What if my life could be bigger? So I spent 7 years learning from who I believe is the leading male coaching program in the world with Garrett J. White. Learned how to attack each circumstance with this unbelievable confidence, clarity, and certainty. And this is where everything really changed. And I was truly exposed to the real problems with chiros because I've sat in all the rooms that you've sat in. I've gone to all the conferences. I've been in multiple management groups, many for one specifically for well over a decade, and it did tremendous things for me. However, the emotional decisions and the facts that were my plan versus a plan kind of became dead in the water. So in 2018, I was ultimately left with a choice, and that's to ignore the calling, which I had a lot of reasons to ignore it on the surface, or address the problem and begin, my own coaching specifically for the male chiropractor, because that's who I am. And that's who I've always been, of course. So here we are, and Gamechanger was formed. That's really what led to the creation of it, and that is still what sustains it today. Now, what is Gamechanger? It's a comprehensive business training and consulting program that leads a boardroom of male chiropractors, and yes, we're across the United States. What do we do? I get this question all the time, and at some level it's challenging, and if you talk to any of our members, they would understand and also be challenged to even tell you because of the things that we do. But I'm going to get into the nuts and the bolts part of what we do because there's so much more to that. Remember the feelings that we talked about at the beginning? Instead of feeling stressed in your business, we show you how to be empowered in your practice. That's a big difference. Instead of feeling scared in your business and not knowing what to do, no matter how many times somebody's showed you or told you or given you what they would call the blueprint, we show you how to be confident in your practice and life, because that's one of the missing ingredients. Instead of feeling lost in your practice and life, show you how to be clear and focused in that aspect. And notice that I always reference practice and life. One without the other, to me, is a waste. Like, you could be an amazing businessman and make tons of money, but if everything else suffers, is it really worth it? And on the flip side, you could have a great wife, you could have a great family, yet if you're unable to provide for your family the way that you want to, or provide down the road, right, in the terms of legacy, then that's an issue as well. And we want you to stay clear and focused in how you approach that. So instead of feeling overwhelmed with all these decisions, we show you how to be excited and reinvigorated in your practice. And it's your practice and your life to do that. Like, how do we do it? It's very tactical how we do it. And it's by using a proven system that we've tested and perfected with hundreds of DC's businesses over the past 5 years. And quite frankly, when I say 5 years, that's just in Gamechanger. I mean, over 28 years owning multiple businesses and then running the practice that I have had and the various forms of that practice along the way. That was part of all of these tests, and sometimes the painful piece that we can go through to get there. Like, so how does it work? Well, phase one, we put you into launch, and that's a 30-day process. And launch helps start getting you results immediately around your body, your being, your balance, and business. Now, those are a core 4 area that we focus on, not just business. And many people will push back on that, say, no, I just need business help. Well, I've never met a chiro in my years that's actually true. Maybe their truth, but deep down, it's not the truth. So we teach an entire new operating system around that, and our doctors have put an average of 20% more in their pockets year over year, and many having 6 figures of growth in 1 year just by using this operating system. So we get you set up in our workplace community. We go through the Gamechanger rules for success, because those rules are critical. Core 4 is a process of putting yourselves in a powerful servant state every single day. Decision velocity formula. This is a formula you apply. When you apply it to your business and life to make decisions, you'll do it in far less time with so much more confidence, clarity, and certainty. It's amazing. And that's where the acceleration of what you can accomplish comes in, which we'll jump into that in just a second. And so it's all about evolving, as you can, as a man, as a husband, as a father, as the doctor, that you talk about wanting to be, but you just haven't maybe got there. One of our docs who's been with us for a long time, Dr. Aaron, AC has done tremendous. As you can see, he went from 400K to over $1 million in 3 years, purchasing a building, and he's still growing. He's been with us, and this is a guy who does the work, hands down. Kim's actually no longer in our program, but he was for a period of time. And you can see right here, I mean, he grew by 178K in 1 year, and we still stay in contact. He's still doing great as a person. Some amazing things happened in his life, well beyond growing by 178K, if you can believe that. Vince is somebody I knew all the way back from school. You can kind of read this. I mean, it's had such an impact on his life, both personally and in business. I've been to many, many seminars in my lifetime, been exposed to multiple consulting groups and practice management group, but nothing else has given me so much. What we teach has created, with Gamechanger, a map that replete with tools to improve every aspect of your life. And you can kind of continue to read that on the screen. But it's doing that work that we gave him in this first 6 months of his very first year. They had his best year of business ever. Now, Steve also still coaching with us. Rickman did over 150K. Over the last 2 years, and that is not current. This was even a few years back, and he's continued to level that up. His practice has evolved, his life continues to evolve, and also a guy who did the work, and he's done a lot of things to help himself. But moving beyond phase 1, that launch phase, into phase 2 is where we do profit analysis. And this is something that I don't know anyone else in the profession actually does, but we show you how to track, monitor, and utilize your profit and loss as a tool to help you make money and keep money. Many people, if they know what a P&L is, they typically get it and they put it in a drawer, and it never really serves them. It's kind of just paperweight or something that their accountant may deliver to them several months late. It's not an active tool. So we're going to look at cash flow and review those categories. We're going to identify leaks that are costing you hundreds to thousands and give you some action steps, hold you accountable to that. And then get into the monthly year-over-year comparisons and why that matters, the quarterly year-over-year comparisons and why that matters. Because one thing, as I had highlighted there, it's not about just making money. I know a lot of people that can make money, but can you keep the money? And as you put in that work, don't you want to maximize that for you and your family? So that's our second phase. Phase 3, get into practice essentials. We can't ever leave alone the basics, the sheer fundamentals of practice, and we break those essentials down regardless of the type of your practice, because we have all kinds of practice systems and practice types represented within Gamechanger. These things never go out of style. These are tried and true, and they really help take your business to the next level of efficiency and service by some simple things. You see the fundamentals there of power, which is where we're super strategic, production, which is specific, and profit, which is the result, office presentation and how you facilitate your message and flow, setting up the patient experience, establishing a service-minded approach, key steps for creating opportunity cost, new patient flow strategies, and then Gamechanger metrics, something I'm really proud of. I'm a numbers guy, always have been, and using those metrics so you can really look at overhead and certain financial principles that are often really ignored, or at least I've seen them ignored in the profession. I've known a lot of docs make a lot of money and not have a whole lot to show for it because they ignored this piece. And we help you do that. Phase 4 is acceleration. I mentioned accelerating through this earlier and what the lift that you get. This is a process of learning and living the tools that we teach inside our 60 training day modules. You'll have the foundation that anything and everything inside of business and life can be built on, like literally built on. Everything is foundational, just like the care that we deliver, right? We're treating the cause, not the symptom. This is the same. We're getting in and we're addressing the cause, maximum results within the shortest time frame, which is always key. Establishing the core 4 because of the freedom and momentum it creates, utilizing the formula I mentioned earlier to finalize decisions in a fraction of the time. Too many people think and think and contemplate and think and contemplate and think and contemplate, and they ask other people and they get like 75 opinions and they don't move. So we weaponize your mental game so you have clear action steps. You eliminate that chaos through mapping, and you just move forward. It sounds so simple, but we all know it's not. We take the guesswork out of what is working, not working via our weekly review process, and then game plans where you're leveraging yourself and your team to accomplish more because you're working on the business, not just in the business. I know you've all heard that phrase. We give you the actual tools to make sure it doesn't happen that way. Phase 5, growth and strategy assessment. So we get these foundational things laid down. We get some momentum. We get you some lift financially and otherwise. And then we've got to accurately assess where you are against where you want to go in business. Like sometimes you just pointed, people are moving, but they're moving in the wrong direction. They don't have the guidance that fits really where they want to end up. And that's some of the disconnect. And we're going to solve that. If at that point, you can accurately achieve growth through specific and strategic plans driven by the highest ROI actions. If you don't know what ROI is, it's return on investment. We assess your top 7 marketing aspects. We look at your top 5 sales aspects, your systems, and fulfillment. So focus on the key words here. These are the 4 buckets that I always break everything down in, and that's marketing, sales, systems, fulfillment. Everything fits in those, and you can't get those out of order or you're going to spin your wheels. And then from that, and seeing where you are and understanding what you want, we can have a strategic plan that gives you that highest ROI, right? Doing the least amount of work to get maximum result. And that doesn't mean you won't work. I need you to hear me on that because we are a group in a boardroom that works. If you expect a magic bullet and you expect it to be offloaded with no accountability and no effort on your part, forget it. You can just exit out right now because this will not serve you. And I don't mean that too harshly. It's just fact. and I wouldn't want to take your time. Phase 6. I don't know anything more powerful than a boardroom mastermind where you're getting, I always say it as you see in quotes, amplify results by re-engineering the way you approach your day, your week, your month, and quarter. Discussing that openly, those challenges with other male chiropractors that have faced, and many of them solved those things themselves. It's a place when we do that as a semi-annual 2-day Fact Map Mastermind. We have monthly training calls with playbooks, which is playbook helps prep for those calls. Full access to our training call library, which is in the dozens of training calls, actually well over 100, I'm sure. Marketing masterclass, which was several of our members who are just genius at this, and they broke that down in an event, and we got it captured on video. Practice and financial conversations, including Gamechanger Wealth. There's literally over 2.5 hours of Gamechanger Wealth that, quite frankly, is one of the most underutilized things that we have. Everybody gets so focused on producing and they miss this piece, but it's in there for you. And that's in our phase 6. Phase 7. Now, you'll notice out here to the right, this is referring to Empire. This is our group where people can evolve and grow into. You don't fit that criteria that I mentioned earlier. You have to be above that criteria, but I want you to see this because this is typically where everybody wants to go, where we're doing quarterly strategic planning, and we're interested in building a legacy for generations to come. This is where it goes beyond you, beyond just your family. It goes beyond that. And we are meeting weekly in training calls. We're having quarterly 2-day events. Team discussions around roles and responsibilities and meeting structures and so much that people need as their teams get bigger and evolve with the business, and then how to build and execute a business based on these tested principles. Because it's not that I came up with all of these principles, right? Many of these have been around since the beginning of time, and they're true in multiple businesses, not just chiropractic. Many of them get ignored in chiropractic for whatever reason because we're service providers, and we bring all that back in. And then leadership capacity, that's massive, because if you don't have the capacity to lead, your business will be capped out whether you know it or not. And most people, even if they know that, they don't know what to do to develop that capacity. We do, and we do it exceptionally well. So if you want to attract and keep the right people on your team, you must have organized and structured business where everyone is clear on what they're going to do and what that's going to look like. Phase 8, financial planning strategy. The days of winging it, taking one person's advice and figuring it out on your own are gone. Like, we take the profit analysis and then another level of that, getting access to the Rolodex of people I've worked with over the years and learning what worked and didn't work, creating millions of not just revenue, but creating $1 million of return for you and your family. Systems around money and finance, tax analysis, and saving strategies. And that comes through the access of people in my Rolodex that I've worked with and vetted out and that help me. We can do many baseline things, but we also know that there's times when you excel to a certain level, you're going to need additional help, and we want to get you to the right people. Phase 9 is, and again, specifically in Empire, is a direct access. I'll always do whatever I can to help anybody in Brotherhood or in Empire, but Empire knows they've got me like 24/7. I'm available. Everything that I know and all the mistakes that I have made, I don't want them to repeat. So that's where I make myself so accessible, because if you do the work and you make the decisions, but you don't have a business partner, you won't be able to build all that you want to build. I mean, it's a guidepost, it's a guardrail, it's all of those things, and I want to be that for people and really be in business with them in that sense to help them get where they want to go, not where I want them to go. We have that through our workplace chat, the Voxer, which is just an app, and of course via phone. So you'll also be joining in Gamechanger. We're a network, which of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, consists of male chiropractors that are all working together and sharing valuable information. Key right there, willing to share anything and everything that's worked and not worked for them in their life and their business. We produce the frameworks, they experience it. You level up the exponential learning because you're hearing what other people have done well or not done well, and there's so much value in that. Our community boardroom, our calls that we have weekly or monthly, depending on the level, their Q&A calls, cash flow review, and financial decisions we're looking at in those calls. Sometimes it's about team management. Other times it's just about difficult conversations. That could be difficult conversation with the spouse, with the child, with a team member, colleague. Like, how do you handle those so you get what you want and help other people get what they want? That's the key. It has to be win-win. What's working, not working, all the mistakes. So we accelerate that, and that's what those calls are about, and keeping a pulse on each other there. Our network is unmatched, and we have chat groups in that as well. We have a whole entire tools section in our chat, the boardroom fact map piece, the core 4 chat, the Brotherhood chat, the Empire chat. These are all active chat groups where you can get help, where other people drop questions, concerns, and we build from that. So we do not sit still. Even though we have the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly things, this is always there, essentially 24/7 to keep us moving. So our program at Gamechanger, I mean, we cover it all. You can kind of go down the list here. From the doctor's mask is something I haven't mentioned, which I'm extremely proud of, and what it exposes to doctors is the real problem. Think subluxation, thanks finding the source, profit analysis, cash flow, practice essentials, the growth and strategy assessment, our metrics, the planning and the strategy that goes in, the access, the boardroom calls, the chat groups. I could go on. So now that you've seen who we are and what we do, you've really got 2 options. And that's, you always have options. Everybody has options, whether they believe it or not. And you've got a couple options today. Option 1, you can do this by yourself. Like, will you do it well? I don't know. Some people have the ability to do it. Many, if they do it, it'll just take them a lot longer on their own, like 3 or 4 times as long. And I could never sacrifice that amount of time, because time is finite to me. And I was unwilling to do that. So our process, how it works, as I mentioned, we got launch, we got profit analysis, we got the practice essentials, acceleration, growth and strategy assessment, boardroom calls, quarterly strategic planning in Empire, financial planning strategy, and then the access. So that's how it works. And we've spent the last several years literally perfecting this entire system. We've tested it, we've shifted it, we've changed it. Every time we found a better way, we made that modification, and we did it with guys just like you. And we'll always continue to streamline it even further as we can. And that's really, now your option 2, right? Option 1, try to do it yourself. And I would always wish you well. Option 2, and this is something, do this right now with our team and our boardroom. We do it together. It will take effort on your part. It will take commitment. It will take engagement. And you will get all of that and then some from us. If you don't do those things, it will not work. And as I said earlier in this training, it's not something that I would suggest. Like, it's just not for you, and that's okay. It's just not a fit. So those are your options. Option 1 or 2, which door are you going to choose? Like, we're not looking to serve everyone. I'm looking to serve the right people. And I hope, if nothing else, you think about that as a gem for your practice and your business. You can't serve everybody all the time. You know the people that you want to take care of, and you know what that looks like, or you should, and that's the people that you market to. And when I say market, I'm talking about how you communicate the message to them that you want to see them. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here, is trying to communicate with the people that are looking for help, looking to accelerate, looking to build their business and their life into something that they've not been able to do, and they believe it can either accelerate it or help them get to somewhere that they just have not been able to get on their own. Because we know we can't serve everyone, and so we're looking to serve the right people. Our team, we want to do something that matters with people that care. Because if you don't care, you won't fit in here. Now, what I know to be true, most chiropractors care. And I'm super proud of our profession for that. But you have to care even at a deeper level, not only about the people that you care for and your team members, but you got to care about yourself. You have to care about your family. You have to care and want something more. Because over the past couple years, we've interviewed a lot of our members and asked them one thing. And that one thing is, what would you say is the most valuable piece, the valuable thing that you've discovered in Gamechanger? And the response is always the same. Always. Never in all the years, and this is a quote, never in all the years of building my business have I had the financial clarity or direction of where my business is at today and a plan of where I'm taking the future. That's it. Clarity. Confidence, clarity, and certainty. The 3 C's we talk about all the time. So if your practice is doing more than $250K per year in revenue, and you want this, here's what you need to do next. Click on the button below this video and apply. Fill out the application. Like, I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to get in your business because I truly need to know you. Know what you want, know where you are now at a higher level to find out and make sure that we can help you. Now, I believe we can help everybody if they're willing to apply themselves, but there's some people, some scenarios that I know are outside, and maybe I have to point you in another direction where you get the help that you need, that you want, and you deserve. So, and finally, I'll leave you with this. What it takes to make money in this world is very different than what it takes to keep it and grow it. And that's where legacies are built, not by making it, but keeping it and growing it. And we have an opportunity in chiropractic through the service you provide to make those impacts in people's health and all the people that you serve, but also not sacrifice yourself, your family, your livelihood, your desires, your wants, your vacations, your time, your legacy that's going to go beyond what you produce standing and leaning over that table. Gamechanger's, I'm not here. Gamechanger's not here to tell you yes on everything or tell you what you want to hear. That's just not who I am. And I wouldn't expect the same thing in return. Gamechanger is focused on analyzing your numbers, challenging your assumptions, mitigating risk, solving problems, strategic planning, and then flat ass achieving results. Because without the results, it doesn't matter. And we're going to do it together. I can't do it without you. You can't. Maybe you can do it without us. That's for you to decide. Back to option 1 or 2. So if you want to build a profitable and sustainable business the right way and implement the systems to secure your family legacy into the next generation, then here's what you got to do. And you don't really need to think about it. You don't need to spend a ton of time on it. It doesn't take a week or 2 to make these decisions. That would be my first lesson for you. When you know the facts, then you move. So your next steps are really simple. Click the button below, fill out the application, and then someone from our team will reach out to you and connect from there. We have limited spots available, and that's no BS. And the reason that is, Gamechanger is not going to be the biggest group on the planet, have zero desire for it to be the biggest group of chiropractors. What I do desire for it to be is the most powerful room of men that are chiropractors, who are husbands, who are fathers, and want to build a sustainable business and leave a legacy beyond themselves. That's who it's for. And that's why there's limited spots in it, because we're not going to serve everybody at the level we serve and do it effectively, and we know it. So I'll leave you with this last statement that I say often. I've said it on my podcast. I've said it on many, many trainings. I say it to the guys all the time. And this is really part of a decision too. I believe it's time for you to change the game. If you got here and you watched this entire video, I think it's time to change the game. Think about all those things that are available to you. Beyond that, it goes back to simple choice, taking those next steps. And no matter what, I wish you the best. I want nothing but the best for you and your family, whether it's with us or without us. But tell yourself today, no matter what, it is time to change the game, because the game is your game. The end.